It's time to close the curtain on the Cape Summer Festival of Champions. It's been an unbelievable summer, and we're going to finish it off with the SplashOut Cape Derby on the 10-race card on the 24th of February here from Hollywood Bets Kenilworth. Really looking forward to saying goodbye to the summer, but also looking forward to what's to come. So much to look forward to here in Cape Town and around the country, but we'll get there when we get there. As for this, just a little favour that I've got to ask you, please don't forget to subscribe to the Cape Racing YouTube channel. We'll give you all the content that you want. Make suggestions to us, and we'll be able to give you everything that you desire and more as we continue to build our database and to give you all the content that might be of interest to you. Right, now we're going to try and create some memories on Saturday the 24th of February, but let's backtrack and welcome the panel that I've got. We've got Lucinda Woodruff and Mark van Deventer, but I'm going to start off with Lucinda and talking about memories and what we've seen over the last few months. Of all the big days, all the big horses, all the big races that we've seen over the last few months, what's the one memory that comes to mind first? And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ali. I must say, Charles Dickens winning the King's Plate was goosebump stuff, and with him going to stud, it really went down as a memorable day for all of us, I think. Just the way he did it and the way he took charge of that field, it was just, you don't see horses win Grade 1s like that very often.
Mark, that's probably the natural landing spot when you talk about memories throughout the summer, but there's no shortage of those. Whenever we close the door on the summer festival and lead towards Joburg and lead towards champion season down in Durban, there's plenty of angles that you can look at. Is Charles Dickens also your highlight?
From a ratings and speed figure perspective, yes. In terms of excitement and drama at the Met, with Rascallion nearly pulling off an amazing front-running steal and getting run down by a resurgent double superlative. To me, that was just a great storyline and an incredibly exciting spectacle.
So maybe we can top that this weekend. We shall see. Let's go through the 10-race cards, starting off at 12:05 with the Hollywood Bets Maiden Juvenile Plate over 1,200 metres. The race obviously incorporates a 100,000 rand bonus from both sales houses and a field of 15 carded to face the starter. I'm going to kick off with Mark here because obviously you represent the interests of Bryn Wrestle and various other angles leading into this race meeting. What do you make of the first race? Generally, what I've seen with the juveniles in Cape Town this season, and we'll only know in 6 to 9 months from now whether there's any proof in the pudding, but there have been some impressive displays, and this looks to be quite a hot maiden. What do you make of it?
It is a hot maiden, Alice. I can speak about Talk to the Master, very smart youngster. Vaughan Marshall is aiming him longer term at a productive 3-year-old campaign. Might just need it a little bit further, but is working well, and those form lines withstand scrutiny. The run to Candice Dawson's Little Ballerina was an excellent effort, and the form has been franked with horses coming out from who got trounced on that occasion, like Makazola and Prom Queen, having won subsequently. So that would be the horse that I would focus on in the opener, Talk to the Master, but there are a number of well-bred firsters, unexposed types, all in the shake-up. Xanthar looks interesting, and also Un Beldi.
Lucinda, is Talk to the Master your idea of the winner in race 1? What's the talk on the ground at Milderton, if there is any, with these youngsters?
Oh, I'm not really on the ground talking, but if you look at the race at face value, you've always got to remember all these horses are only going over 1,200 metres now, all these juveniles. So there could be, these are the sort of races, there always could be something coming under the radar that you've got to kind of look for. If you look at a horse like Xanthar and Talk to the Master, both of them look like they should really enjoy the 1,200 metre and the step up and trip, and they look like very progressive, nice horses. Yeah, Unbaldi, another one. I would say, Karari out of a trippy mare, probably 1,200 max, at this time. That probably is what put me off it, but then again, ran behind some very nice horses. So I would go, obviously, just to be safe, 13 Xanthars, 2, and add number 4 Unbaldi in there.
I remember Unbaldi, the mother, one fun day was trained by Mike de Kock, and she was an out-and-out sprinter, so might just be testing the waters over 1,200 metres, but we shall see. So perhaps work around those horses in order to make a little bit of money leading up to the exotics, which begin in race number 2 at 12:40. The Schweppes Cape Fillies Classic, a listed feature over 1,800 metres. A field of 7 to face the starter, but a few progressive horses. Seeing as the Fillies race, let's start with Lucinda. Can you narrow this race down? It looks to be one of the trickier races on the card.
Yeah, I had a good look at Summer Lily. She beat me last time out in a 1,400 with a nice 4-year-old filly. I just don't know if she'll stay, Ali. She won a 1400 well. I preferred the other Snaith runner there, number 7, Epicleros. She's bred for this. She's out of the Aries, that's that Athena family, and I think she's going to love the 1800 meters trip here.
Athena, of course, a grade 1 winner over 1800 metres, so that could be a nice link. Mark, is Lucinda on the right track in your opinion?
I'm going to take a slightly different tack. I like Fatal Gem. Versatile running style, nice progressive form lines, and I think the tactical versatility will serve her well. Princess Izzy is a danger, and they rate very close. In fact, they did heated, I think, a few months ago back at Durbanville. And the others that I would look at would be Summer Lily, Rainbow, Lorikeet. They're very closely handicapped. It's going to be a tight showdown.
Epicleros' last one was good when finding her way through traffic, but also Fatal Gem and Princess Izzy. That's been a bit of a storyline throughout the summer, and now they get a chance to dance in a listed feature. So that's race number 2, the first leg of the bar pot. We'll add some fireworks to this as we go along. And I think one of the races of the day, the first leg of the Place Accumulator, the City of Cape Town, Cape of Good Hope Nursery. It's always a fascinating race. 1,200 metres is the distance. We got some impressive winners in here. We got some super strong form lines. So where are we going to go, Mark? How many horses do we need in the first leg of the Place Accumulator? How many likely winners are there? I mean, is this about half the field that can win it?
Yeah, I compiled my shortlist, and then it ended up not being a shortlist. It ran right the way across the page. One Stripe, Banff, Winds of Change, Roman Agent. Those would be 4 that I think should suffice for PA purposes. Thank goodness it's not part of jackpots and pick sixes, because I'm not tendering those selections with a great deal of confidence. Very, very hard to call. They're unexposed types. But those would be the ones that I would hone in on: 6, 8, 9, and 10.
Of those 4, which win was most impressive for you? Because we using One Stripe's start to finish runaway win, he can be a bit headstrong. Bernard Fairherb negated that by just saying, well, off you go. Obviously, Banff totally differently, settle out late, giving the impression that the extra trip will suit. Roman Agent, probably the most battle-hardened at the moment, having come off 2 on the spin. Which one looks more impressive to you at the moment?
Well, Banff's closing sectional was very sharp, so that was encouraging. Winds of Change, that was a very fine debut.
Winds of Change, who runs a nice race. Further back to Sweetie Darling, but they now get to the last 150. Roman Agent. Winds of Change runs a massive race towards the far side, and also staying on his Unbel D, but Roman Agent keeping them at arm's length, and Roman Agent has won. Second goes the way of Winds of Change. Further back to Unbel D.
Horses statistically make massive improvement from their debut to their second start. So maybe Winds of Change has got the most upside.
Would you look at a horse with more upside here, Lou? I mean, let's say you had a horse in this race, you had a horse that had been around 3 times and done what Roman Agent's done, or you had a Winds of Change who looks like he's capable of turning the deficit with natural improvement to come. Would you rather have a harder 2-year-old going into a grade 3 at this time of year, or would you rather look at an improver, just the general rule of thumb?
Improving general, yeah. I also must just add this filly Symphony of White, that was one that I definitely thought needed to be included in there. If you look at the history of this race going back, many fillies have won it because they're getting the sex allowance there. So it's definitely one just to add in. I thought she won a 1200 easy very nicely, and yeah, again, she's got so much improvement to come out of Snow Dance. It's a top family. What a winter. Definitely one. I've put her in my top 3.
Snow Pilot's half sister. Would
Yeah.
that just be a little bit more fruit to the pudding that Drakenstein have established this season? So that's race number 3. That is going to be a very, very good race indeed. The Cape of Good Hope Nursery, a grade 3. It'll start the Place Accumulator. Now the pick 6 begins on race number 4, and that target is 3 million rand on this Saturday. And I think we're going to get there with a standalone Saturday, end of the month. Last day of the festival, hopefully a few winners leading up to this meeting around the country. So the Cape Turf Club Cape B Stakes over 1,400 metres sees Lucinda's first runner in the form, number 4, Cafe Culture. Would it be fair to pigeonhole him as a Hollywood Bets Durbanville specialist that can be effective at Hollywood Bets Kenilworth, or are you expecting the same type of form that he showed at the country course to come here? I mean, he's not like he's got his legs tied up at HQ, but is he better at the country course?
Yeah, that's why I've opted to run him over 1,400. I thought his last run was so gutsy. He had a 13 draw, got taken out at the start. Obviously, the plan was never to go galloping off to the front. He has been doing it a little bit too hard, so I've taken the blinkers off him now. And yeah, we just want to save a little bit for him. He's out of a dynasty mare too, so although he's a good sprinter, I do think he's going to be a better 1400-meter horse.
In a good space into this race, has he got a winning chance, and who are your dangers?
Yeah, he's in a great space. If it wasn't for Pomodoros Jet, I'd be quite confident. But just at the weights on the last run, yeah, I think that's definitely our main danger.
How many horses do we need in the opening leg of the pick six? Are you leading with number 3, Pomodoros Jet, Mark?
Yes. Maybe 4 could suffice. Opening the batting with Pomodoros Jet. Inna Morari, I think will run a big race, emerged with great credit last time from that At My Command form line win, hopelessly drawn. USA's Hope has got consistent form at this class level. And then a weird one is Steadfast. If you look at the weight shift, it has definitely got claims. It should be a big price. Obviously, we'll have to overcome an awkward passage from the wide outside, but I think that could run nicely. Cafe Culture, I do respect as a major speed factor. Fibonacci, that was a tragedy, beaten last time, and maybe he could be thrown into wider perms. But Pomodoros Jet would be my top pick.
Fibonacci not blessed with a good draw, otherwise I'd make a very strong case for him. I know Devon Pretorius, for what it's worth, was keen on number 8, Wiccan Warrior, being a chance as well. Gareth Van Zale's horses have turned the corner here in the Cape and is rating steadily on the drop, so that might make him a danger in a very interesting opening leg of the pick six. I don't know if the first leg of the first jackpot, the Pongrats Jetmaster Stakes, a listed feature over 1,600 metres, needs so many horses to scrutinise, because Royal Aussie probably back to home base here. Mark, is this his type of sweet spot? Does he rate as a hard horse to beat, or are you a bit weary?
If he repeats his King's Plate heroics from that wide draw, then I think he'll be very, very difficult to beat, Ali. So just in the previous race, I failed to mention Big Unit. I think that's been cagily placed by Brett Crawford, and of the lightweights, that maybe is also worth tossing in. But yeah, in the Jetmaster Stakes, Royal Aussie would be the standout, just on official ratings, and it was an outstanding effort behind the Mile Supremo Charles Dickens. Ponte Petra is a bit of a dark horse, coming in after a freshening and receiving 6 kilograms, so he's got some potential. Future Prince, I think, is another Crawford runner that has been cleverly placed at a light weight. If you look at that run to Pekaya in this race last year, he is significantly better off at the weights with Quasi for sure, who would be an obvious contender. So that's how I would narrow it down. Royal Aussie on top over 6, 9, and 4.
Quasi for sure this time last year. That was quite a talking point, wasn't it, Lou? Do you have a lot of time for him, because he's been a little bit flat this summer, dare I say?
Yeah, he hasn't quite come back the same horse. He had a really good Natal season. I see he came back. He came here off a high, beating Gladiatorian, but yeah, it just hasn't quite been the same horse here.
Who's your main play in race number 5? Which horse are you most looking forward to?
Look, that's the one race I thought maybe you could bank a Royal Aussie. He's so well in. If the Met hasn't taken too much out of him, put a couple in there just in case, but yeah, he looks like a shoe in here.
Okay. I'm with Lucinda. I think Royal Aussie is a very hard horse to beat. MJ Bailifful actually alluded to the fact that Future Prince might be Brett Crawford's version of Winchester Mansion this season. So let's see if that all goes according to plan. He's certainly rated on the low side at the moment, so he'll have to do Winchester Mansion things to even get to the Hollywood Bets Durban July. But looks like Royal Aussie are for 1-2-4 back to the same course and distance of South Africa's Premier Weight for Age. We'll take all the beating as we move on to race 6, the SplashOut Prix de Cup, a grade 3 over 1,400 metres. A race that actually has a very good roll of honour. If you look back, some big fillies and mares have won this in the past. But I don't know if it's going to be all that straightforward. There's no Captain's Ransom or Princess Colour to focus on in the Prix de Cup, but there might ultimately be one of that quality coming out of it. Lucinda, I'll start off with you. It does look like a race that lends itself to the 3-year-olds this season, and that they've had good seasons, and maybe these older fillies and mares have had their chance throughout the summer. What do you make of it?
Yeah, exactly that, Ali. You look at a filly like number 2, October Morn. She was so impressive in the Scepter Stakes. Obviously, there's a massive question mark if she's going to stay the 14. but she was tried over 1500 as a 2-year-old, and hopefully with progression and maturity, you know, she'll be up for that trip now. But I'd say that's probably the biggest question mark for her on Saturday.
Which other horses are you having a good look at before we get to Mark? And I want to ask him about October Morn. Long list of horses, or are you narrowing it down to a few potential winners?
There's, I mean, obviously the 3-year-olds all in their hand there. You've got to include a filly like Raskova. She's been ultra impressive the whole season. She won the Cape
Fillies Championship.
At Durbanville, and she did it from start to finish. And she's hasn't disgraced herself at all. I mean, she was second to Princess Keller in the Mallorca. So you've got to add a filly like that in. Then you have a look at a filly like Double Grand Slam. I thought she made massive improvement to run third in the Mallorca. I didn't think she was of that class. She's a very good filly, but she's put her hand up now, and she's one that should also go in there. Of the older fillies, nothing for me is really shouting out. You know, they've kind of been there in their place, and I do think one of the 3-year-old fillies will come through here.
It's probably a fair assessment, Mark, but let's talk about October Morn before we talk about the rest of the race. In your heart of hearts, do you think she'll get 1400 metres? She runs like she will, but she's not bred to. So where do you stand?
I have serious doubts, Eddie. She didn't get home over 1500 in the slush in the middle of winter, and Alda Dome was convinced at that point that she doesn't stay. Obviously now she's more mature, firmer ground, and she is extremely talented, so you've just got to respect her on class load. She's got an amazing turn of foot, but to me, maybe a play against. It is a very hard race to predict. Again, a shortlist here of about half a dozen horses, including Double Grand Slam, Happy Chance, Shantastic, Ripple Effect, Raskova, as Lucinda mentioned, can make her own luck from the front, and even Golden Hostess, who's a 1400-meter specialist. Very tough to call. My marginal top pick would be Double Grand Slam, who's got positional options because she has won pressing the pace. She can also come from off them, and she's a fast, progressive, and I think very, very talented Vercingetorix filly.
Okay, so 3-year-olds definitely getting the thumbs up in the SplashOut Prix Cup. On we go to the Kaya Stables Diadem Stakes over 1200 metres. Of course, Kaya Stables behind the Golden Grooms initiative here in the Western Cape, and there'll be plenty more checks going the way of the grooms that are represented in the feature races, or certainly that perform in the feature races on Saturday. 1200 metres the distance. A lot believe that this is the sprint race of the season here in Cape Town, although the connections of Dice would probably disagree, having won the Cape Flying Championship. But generally, Mark, the Diadem Stakes, because of the conditions of the race, probably lends itself to the best sprinter in the race winning it. Is that Thunderstruck? Is he one of the better bets on the card, or again, are you keeping your net a bit more open than that?
I think you're right, Eddie. Thunderstruck appeals as the class of the race, and he's got the right running style. He'll be up there, and then he can kick away from a handy position. It goes extremely well for Richard Fourie, Sean Terry, expert in the big races. So it all points to Thunderstruck. Look, he's not a slam dunk, because on collateral form he's got a slight edge, but not a significant edge over horses like Bereave and Ria Quirari, who is a past winner of this race. I do also have respect for Cosmic Highway. The man in which he won his penultimate, a great turn of foot, will stand him in good stead. And early in his career, he was a high-class sprinter. I'm also intrigued about the only 3-year-old in the race, Future Variety. The weights might be a little bit close, you know, just the 3-kilogram difference. But he's upwardly mobile, so he's probably one to lob in the lower slots for trifectas and that. But yeah, Thunderstruck on top over Cosmic Highway and Bereave.
Sandra, are you a Thunderstruck fan in the Kaya Stables Diadem this year?
Yeah, definitely. I also think number 2, Sergey, needs a mention here. Just at the weight, he's coming in a lot better with a lot of them. And he's kind of always been a bridesmaid, this horse, and he has to get it right one day.
He would certainly be deserving. In fact, now that I'm looking at it, 469 days since his last win, having put up the runs that he has, a Grade 2 win would look very good in his resume. But Thunderstruck, clearly the one they all need to beat. He is, of course, a Grade 1 winner as a 2-year-old. and it looks like he's resurgent as a 4-year-old. Certainly this summer here in Cape Town has been evidence of that. Now we get on to the final Grade 1 of the Cape Summer before the Grade 1s kick off in Joburg, the SplashOut Cape Derby over 2,000 metres for a stake of R1.5 million. Historically, 3-year-old that comes out on top here generally goes on, becomes a horse to follow throughout the Durban season, into next year's Met, whatever the case may be. But what are we going to do this year? Is it the Green with Envy show, Lou? What about the filly Beach Bomb? Snaith says that he's going to make life tough for these horses. Is Green with Envy as solid as many people make him out to be, or are there others?
I always go and look at the breeding alley because you're putting these 3-year-old colts over 2,000 meters now. I like that Green with Envy is out of a Galileo mare. That for me is a big pointer that he will stay the 2,000, and certainly the way he won the Politician Stakes.
Guided them into the home straight. Harajuku, Black Cap, quick to assert. Then comes King Pele's, the Grey King. Blue Bay is in the blue sleeves and the red cap. Then comes Call to Unite. Further back in the field is Get Impressed, and Green with Envy towards the outside gradually turns it on with 300 meters left to go, and Green with Envy strides forward with Harajuku trying to show some cheek. Then comes the Grey King. Fatal Gem ran her race, and now Green with Envy puts his best foot forward, and Green with Envy defies top weight and wins the Schweppes Politician in style. Green with Envy is won.
I do think he sticks out here for me mostly. Beach Bomb is a very interesting runner here. I didn't really know what to make of a Mallorca run, and I don't know if maybe something went amiss, or it just seems, for such a poor run after having won the Guineas so well, is it maybe coming a little bit too soon for her?
I think that's a burning question mark. She is the only Grade 1 winner in this race, is Beach Bomb. But as Lucinda says, the last one is a real head scratcher. So what are we going to do here?
Yeah, she's got a killer turn of foot, Elliot, which she's used to win 2 Grade 1s. In fact, in false run races. That's not to take anything away from her accomplishment, but she's used that turn of foot to just come out on top. I'm not convinced. I'm very much a Green with Envy fan. His profile fits that of a potential Derby winner. Dean Canama's absolutely outstanding record in the classics, and very impressive winner of the Politician Stakes with top weight, great come home sectional. So he would be my pick. Schleswig, probably the danger. That was actually a deceptively good run behind Charles Dickens in the King's Plate. And on back form, there's very little to choose between Green with Envy and Schleswig. But over the distance, I would prefer the Caname runner.
Just quickly, Lou, before we go into the 9th race, Snaith saying that he's not going to make it easy for Green with Envy and Beach Bomb. He's got 3 runners. Do you have any preference of the Snaith trio? Is it Harajuku, is it Rapidash or Schleswig? If you had to surmise, which one might be?
I like, obviously, Schleswig's my pick of the Snaith runners here. I like that Dan Muscat's also on him. He's got a very unique riding style, which I picked up on Met Day. He makes a horse gallop. So if ever you were going to get a horse that you might have a few question marks over whether it stays, he's just the perfect type of guy to have on top.
Very interesting. Very, very good point indeed. Maybe that's the UK way, just getting a horse into its stride early, because those to the eye look like UK jockeys get mobile with their horses a lot earlier, and that clearly went with double superlative in the World Sports Betting Cape Town Met. On to the penultimate race on the card. I'm just going to go to Mark as we're getting a little bit short for time. It's the Cape Race in Class 4 for fillies and mares over 1,200 metres. Probably doing Lou a bit of a favour by not asking her opinion in race 9. So Mark, you've got the task of trying to narrow it down.
Sure. Tough 15, 4, 8 and 2. Red Moon Rising would be my top pick. Has run well enough in these sorts of races, and was held up last time. Still made good progress, and so with not a great deal of conviction, Red Moon Rising would go on to the list together with Nordic Quest, who has got some nice form lines. Dame of Tricks, nice speed figure behind Pork Tava, and Green Valkyrie could be your exotic tote bust at a price.
there are a few horses here who come on the back of very, very unlucky runs recently. So, and one of those being Red Moon Rising, who was stuck without cover last time, drawn 9 out of 9 blinkers, go on to help her take a little bit more interest. And on we go to race number 10. Weirdly, I'm looking forward to this. The Kaya Stables Work Riders and Jockey Championship maiden plate over 1,200 metres. Lucinda's got 2 runners here. Just bear in mind that it's 2-0 to the Work Riders for the existence of this race. So I'm sure Mrs. Zaki, Fanika, Orfa, Wright and Faree would be driven to get the professionals on the board. You got 2 runners. What's your report card with Azuri and Champanel? Champanel's got the right man on board.
Yeah, I only got Champanel in end of December, so I don't know him too well. Just thought it was a really nice place to start him off. Had a look through all of his race replays, and he just looks like a horse that's going to love the 1,200 metre straight. So I waited for this race for him. Azuri is quite a nice horse. He was drawn on the complete outside last time on Met Day, first run. If you watch the run, he ran on quite nicely, and I think he's a dark horse. I'm not saying he could win this race, but I do think he's a horse that's going to improve quite a bit from that first run. And I must say, I'm quite happy to have the Work Riders on because it makes quite a big difference, the 2.5 kg allowance that they get, especially over 1,200 metres with these sort of horses. I won the race last year with the Katsu. He's a 2,000 metre horse, but I do think that made all the difference with the Work Rider on last year. Yeah.
There's got to be something there, Mark. I mean, Speed Racer, and by the way, the video is on file if you want to know how Craig Zaki's ended up on the Kaya Stables horse. It's legit. How did that happen? But it happened that way, perfectly legit and above board, so don't worry about that. I mean, Speed Racer has the best credentials in this race, but are we looking for spooks just saying, well, there have been 2 races, the Work Riders have won them both, as Lou said, Katsu and a 1,200 to 2,000 metre horse. There's got to be a little bit of substance there, but, do you think the jockeys will break that duck this year?
Yeah, Speed Racer just needs to boost his finish. He's tended to get run out of it late. Maybe Craig Zaki can keep him going. Noonday Gun has probably got the best form of all. If you look at some of the horses that he's run to, Alistair Raskova, Captain Arrow, even Dumbledore. So, but I mean, he's still a maiden after 9 dips. He must go on to the short list. And speaking about experienced Work Riders, William Bambiso, who won the Work Rider Series recently, he's on the US of A, who's got hidden form. And then you've also got a stubborn character like Otis the Brave, who mixes his form, but might be able to get involved. It's a tough one. 2, 10, 6, and 1 would be my contenders in the last.
Very interesting alternative view from Mark going into the finale at Hollywood Bets Kenilworth on SplashOut Cape Derby Day. So that is pretty much a wrap. Just leaves me to say thank you very much to Mark and Lucinda. Mark, really looking forward to this final meeting, but it doesn't necessarily stop. It might be the end of the Grade 1s, might be the end of the official season, but the Winter Series is still here, and lots of other interesting races with 2-year-olds coming through the ranks in the next few months.
Absolutely. Intriguing programming here at Cape Racing, so looking forward to winter as well.
And then Lou, thank you so much for your time. You going shopping on Sunday?
Yeah, gonna go have a look.
But yep, looking forward to it, and hopefully a lot more to come.
Yes, definitely. Thanks.
Brilliant. So thanks so much to Lucinda, thanks so much to Mark, and thanks so much to you, the viewer, for being part of it, to the racing fan that's made this season what it is, to all the owners and all the contenders. And don't forget, racing continues. Sunday we'll be at Turfentine. We'll continue along here down the Western Cape with our next meeting coming up on Sunday the 3rd of March. But as for SplashOut Cape Derby Day, we hope to see you here. Till next time, goodbye.